Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X-Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X-Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light. Welcome to Mission Evolution Radio Show with Gwilda Wiyaka, bringing together today's leading experts to uncover ever-deepening spiritual truths and the latest scientific developments in support of the evolution of humankind. For more information on Mission Evolution Radio with Gwilda Wiyaka, visit www.missionevolution.org. And now, here's the host of Mission Evolution, Miss Gwilda Wiyaka.
Hello, my visionary friends, and thank you for joining me, Gwilda Wiyaka, on another exciting adventure into future possibilities. You're listening to Mission Evolution Radio Show, where we share innovative thoughts and information with today's leading esoteric and scientific experts, supporting the co-creation of a better tomorrow. You, my treasured listeners, are a very important part of the discussion. Email info@missionevolution.org with any comments or questions. We'll address them on the very next show. So grab your pen and pad, take notes, sit back, and enjoy. This hour we'll consider give and take evolutionary marketing. Marketing, a necessary evil in the business world. As consumers, we've been marketed, schemed, and quite frankly, scammed to death. As a result, we've become suspicious and cynical. Is there an honest evolutionary approach to getting well-meaning companies' viable products in front of the public, sans the hype and overblown claims? As we evolve into a more cohesive whole, most of us are looking for win-win solutions to today's problems. Is there such a resolution in the business world? The market is flooded with dubious claims from companies that focus on making sales and profit to the exclusion of the consumer's needs and well-being. How can honest companies draw the attention of those who want and need what they can provide? Is there a beneficial solution that does no harm? With us this hour to lend her expertise to the topic is Sheryl Green, author of Do Good to Do Better, the small business guide to growing your business by helping nonprofits. Sheryl discovered the power of storytelling and has brought her love of the craft to fiction, nonfiction, and content writing for businesses. After years of begging for money for nonprofits, she discovered cause marketing and now helps small, medium-sized businesses stand for something and improve their business at the same time. She holds a master's degree in psychology, has worked in customer service, public relations, education, and the nonprofit world. Her website, SherylGreenspeaks.com. Sheryl, on behalf of our listeners and myself, welcome to Mission Evolution.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
So advertising seems to have taken on a life of its own and tends to compete to control the masses. What impact has this had on the general public?
I think, like you were saying, that was a great introduction to the topic. People are very skeptical. And true advertising, true positive advertising, should not be used to kind of pull the wool over the public's eyes or to push them into something that they don't need. True advertising and true marketing should really just enlighten the customer as to what options are out there and how they could benefit them. And when we lose sight of that, that's when it gets ugly.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we've been living in a consumer-driven society, and over the years, it seems to have developed a really dark side. What can you tell us about that?
Oh, that's a great question. When I started researching for my first book, I forget the numbers, it's been a while, but I wrote a personal development book, and I talked about the different types of happiness. And, there are two types of happiness. One of those is the type that is fleeting, and it comes from buying something, getting the new purse, getting the new car, getting the new jewelry or the new appliances, whatever happens to float your boat. As opposed to the type of happiness that is longer lasting. And that's when we actually help someone else. And there's scientific research behind it. And again, forgive me, I don't remember the research off the top of my head. But there's research showing that first type, it doesn't last long, and you're constantly chasing that high. Once you get the new car, then, well, you feel good for a couple of days, maybe even less, and now you want something else. So it kind of puts us in this ugly cycle.
Yeah, it really is an ugly cycle, and it doesn't serve anyone really, ultimately, does it? Yeah, nope. We're all hawked up to our eyeballs. Right?
Yes, exactly. And we have to get storage places to put all of our stuff.
Exactly, stuff. We could go on about stuff, couldn't we? So why is it important for an individual or a company to find purpose beyond making a lot of money?
So I'm going to jump up on a soapbox for just one moment. There are a couple of problems in our world right now. Not sure if you've noticed that. No. And I won't bash any political party or any belief system or anything. But I will say, I think we can all agree that we're in trouble. We're in a bad situation right now. There's a lot of negativity. There are a lot of issues. And up until, I would say a few years ago, people thought that the government was going to fix things. We all had this faith like, oh, that's okay. There's government programs. The government is working on this. And, we as individuals and as business owners kind of sat back, and the classic line is always, well, I pay tax. I pay taxes. That's where my tax dollars should go. But I think in the past couple of years, people are starting to realize that the government is not going to save us. That it's up to us as individuals, and even more importantly, as business owners and as small business owners, to kind of take that step up and say, what can I do to help? Nonprofits have been on, boots on the ground for years, and they're the ones that are actually fixing these issues and working to create a time when we don't need them. It's funny, the whole goal of a nonprofit is to put itself out of business because the problem's solved.
Nice.
So it is. I mean, I've been doing animal rescue for years, and it's not like everybody wants to spend their weekends at adoption events. We'd be more than happy to take the time off because the problem is solved.
Yeah, that would be a nice one to solve there.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think, go ahead.
How can we blend purpose with occupation?
There are a couple of different ways, and I think mostly it depends on what you do, what you're good at, what your gifts are. And, some people just look at business as a way to make money and a way to, survive and buy the stuff. And there's nothing wrong with buying some stuff.
Yeah, but that's also for years now, when you're getting coached to go to college, mm-hmm. the first thing that's looked at is what's going to earn money, not necessarily following your passion. That really needs to shift, doesn't it?
It does. And One of my dreams is to see a world where everybody is actually doing what they're meant to do. What were you put on this planet to do? What skills were you given? What gifts do you have that you can share? And I think when you talk about, blending purpose and helping out nonprofits and standing for a cause, it comes down to what's your gift? There's a lot of things that I can't do. But instead of focusing on that and trying to, do accounting for a nonprofit or something like that, that's not my ninja skill. Rather than that, I choose to use my writing and my communication skills and things like that. So it comes down to what are you good at and what do you have to offer?
So, but, I think a lot of us have gotten away from even recognizing what that is. What's the first step towards uncovering that?
Well, I like to do an inventory. This is good for businesses. This is good for individuals. And I actually did one yesterday. I sat down with a friend who's coaching me, and I'm actually looking at it right now. I have a big piece of Post-it paper on my wall that says what I'm good at. And I think sometimes it takes somebody else to sit there and to help you, because most of us don't like to brag about ourselves. And often you're too close to see your own skills. For years, I didn't realize that writing was a skill. I thought everybody could do that because that is something that comes easily to me. And it wasn't until I saw other people not writing so well, we'll just put it like that, that I realized, this is a skill. So maybe sitting down with somebody that's close to you and that knows you. And, after you get through that first level of I'm good at this, this, and this, they can ask you those why questions. Why are you good at this? What is it about this that you excel at? And why do you think that, why do you think that your skills go in that direction?
Yeah, that's really a good approach, because you're starting to get deeper into what are your gifts versus what have you been conditioned to do? How do you discern those?
It's that internal passion, that internal fire. And a lot of us received that information growing up. This is what you should do. This is what your family has done. This is what is acceptable. And you kind of have to break through that conditioning and realize, well, yeah, but I don't really care so much. That's not what lights me up. And there's that old question of what would you do if money was money was not an issue? What would you be doing? And I think you do kind of have to look at that. If you didn't have to make a living, what would you spend your days doing?
That's a hugely important thing, because we are so money driven and consumer driven, and they dominate our lives to where we don't even contemplate what it would be like and what we would be doing with our time if we weren't having to make a living. Yeah. So that's really, really, really a good point. So we are going to have to take a little commercial break here, but when we come back, we're going to talk a little more about following your joy and finding your gifts. But it is time for a commercial break. Sheryl and I will return shortly, so don't you go away. You're listening to the Mission Evolution Radio Show, coming to you on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. We'll be back.
Patty Conklin grew up in Brooktondale, New York with a unique ability. Unlike others, she could see how the vibration of words and emotions affected the physical body. She discovered how to release stored emotion and facilitate healing. This began today's Conklin method of cellular cleansing. The private practice grew with tremendous results, as did her reputation. More and more people sought her out, bringing her into the home for healing. She soon realized she could even teach this to others, and they could shift perception and thus prevent illness from occurring. Patty Conklin quickly became a frequent keynote speaker, and she developed a curriculum for teaching the Conklin method of cellular cleansing. For more information, visit pattyconklin.com. PATTICONKLIN, pattyconklin.com, or call 404-474-0086. That's 404-474-0086.
Mission Evolution is dedicated to the well-being of the planet and animals, as well as the evolution of humankind. One major factor threatening all three is increasing toxicity. Heavy metals and other environmental toxins are poisoning our bodies, deteriorating our brains, blocking our spiritual connection, and shortening our lives. Yet these poisons are extremely difficult to remove. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, and I recently became aware of a product created from the marriage of nature and nanotechnology called Vitality. It's formulated from zoolite, whose crystalline structure binds toxins, gently carrying them out of the body. The light is only as clear as the window through which it shines. Clear your body, shine your light into the world. Visit vitalityhappens.com for a 20% discount. Enter code PATHHOME.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Hello again. This is the Mission Evolution Radio Show, missionevolution.org. To all our faithful and thoughtful listeners, we value your opinion and would love to hear from you. Email me at info@missionevolution.org and share your thoughts or questions so we can address them on the next show. Be sure to reference the name of the episode you're discussing. And speaking of which, this comment in from one of our listeners regarding the episode entitled Evolving from Competition to Collaboration. MC states, strength, diversity, and cooperation sounds like a good workshop. I'd really like to work on the idea about evolving from adversity and competition to collaboration. MC, thank you so much for your suggestion. We're now working on said workshop, and we'll announce it on www.findyourpathhome.com when it's scheduled. Curious listeners, you can check out Evolving from Competition to Collaboration on our archives at missionevolution.org. With us this hour discussing evolutionary marketing is Sheryl Green. Her website, SherylGreenspeaks.com. Sheryl, we were getting into, following your joy to find your gifts, okay? And does that apply not just to the individual, but also to a company?
I think it does. I mean, anything that's going to be on an individual level is also going to be on a business level because, we talk about this when you discuss B2B and B2C, so selling business to business or business to consumer. And people forget that while a business is an organization, it's made up of people. So I think if you've got a group of people, a business, an organization that is not on the right track, that is not passionate about what they're doing, that doesn't have that strong why, then yeah, I mean, they're not going to be very successful and they're not going to be very happy. So, it's something obviously that should be done in the beginning, but if you're not succeeding or you're dragging along with your business, it might be time to look at, are you actually doing the right thing?
Yeah, this has been changing, thank goodness. But there was a time when large corporations treated people horribly, like disposable commodities, and what they cared about or what they could bring to the equation didn't matter. They just headhunt for who have what, work them to death, surplus them, and bring in the newest, latest, greatest. And hopefully, I see that changing. Do you?
I haven't been in the corporate space in quite a while. I've really been in the small business space, but I do remember I I used to do IT back for a mortgage company. And I remember them sitting us down in a meeting and saying, you cost money. You don't make any money. And I thought that was it was such a hurtful thing to say, but it was so wrong. Because I said, great, close down the IT department for a week.
Yes.
Let's see how your salespeople do. But there is that attitude of you're just here, you're just costing money, and you're not like providing worthwhile service or whatever it may be. So I hope that's changing. I do see from the people that I do know working in the corporate space, corporations are trying to kind of improve that, and some of them, not all, and put that employee above the bottom line. But I also think that you see that more with these companies that have purpose. I always like to use Tito's Vodka as an example because they started out the founder started out the business using donations and basically using cause marketing. He loves animals, so I love him even more. But the company donated vodka to animal events, not to the animals themselves. They don't need to drink. But, to fundraising events. And that's how he got his name out there. And as the company has grown, he's encouraged his employees to do the same thing. So now they get something called a joy budget, where they get money and product to donate to a cause of their choice. So
speaking of which, you speak of cause marketing. Would you describe exactly what that is?
Sure. So I like to call it selling warm fuzzies instead of widgets. When you are selling widgets, you are saying, this is my product, this is what I do, buy it. When you are selling warm fuzzies, or utilizing cause marketing, you're working with a nonprofit. You're standing for a cause. You're sharing not only your dollars, but sometimes your products, but you're also sharing your platform. So it comes down to, hey, you know what? There's this cause that you need to have awareness about. Let me show you how much I care about it, what I'm doing, and how you can actually be a hero. We talk about in storytelling being the hero. You can be a hero by championing this cause and by doing business with us, because it helps us donate and do more. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
So what first drew you to the concept of cause marketing?
I wish I could tell you the exact moment that I heard about it. I'm pretty sure it was like, one of those things where the angels sing and there's like this bright light coming around it. Yeah. But I truthfully, I don't remember. It was years of walking around with my hand out for the animal rescue. And at some point I found out, oh yeah, rescues, nonprofits, or for-purpose organizations, they actually have value beyond just whatever population you serve. We have value in that we've built up audiences. We have a brand. We have people that businesses would love to get in front of. And it's a win-win situation because you need the money, you have the audience. So that spirit of collaboration it's amazing.
It's hugely important at this time, don't you think? It's like we've ridden the competition horse about as far as the poor thing's going to go.
and that's so sad.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot you're an animal person. But now we really need to turn this around and find win-wins, and focus more on how everyone can benefit versus on the bottom line. Yes. What, again, is the first step to getting there?
So the first step is, one, figuring out what you care about. I go through like a 9-step process in my book, and it's what matters to you. Because honestly, I realize not everybody cares about animals. I get that. There are, thousands of causes and hundreds of thousands of nonprofits out there that can use your help. So what matters to you? and to some degree, what makes sense for your industry. If you don't have that strong connection, that strong heart connection, then the next step is really to look at, what makes sense for my industry and what's a natural fit.
There's been a lot of attention lately to exploitation by supposed nonprofits, where charities only get a small portion of the donations.
Yes.
How can we be sure we're being effective rather than exploited in cause marketing?
So cause marketing, and the funny thing is, I'm very naive, or I was very naive in that I couldn't imagine anybody taking advantage of a nonprofit. It just doesn't.
It's bad, yeah.
I mean, it happens, but it just didn't even click in my head. And one of the books I was reading when I researched, to write my book, I found, there's an attorney that specializes in cause marketing, and he happens to be in Las Vegas, right near me. And I was like, well, why would you need an attorney? Everybody is honest and loving, and we're all singing Kumbaya. But that got beaten out of me pretty quickly. So I sat down with the attorney, and there are rules that you need to follow when you are doing cause marketing. And one of those is being very specific. Your audience, your client, your customer, they have to be able to calculate the amount of the donation as opposed to just saying a percentage of the proceeds. Because when you say a percentage of the proceeds, and I was guilty of this before I learned that this was, even a thing, a percentage of the proceeds could be 0.0000000, 0.01. So it could be, you think, well, I'm spending $50,000 on a car. So obviously they're going to be donating a couple of grand to a nonprofit. That's why you need the specific number. So you can say like a flat rate. You can say, I think Subaru does $250 or $350 from the sale of each car goes to a nonprofit. Or you can say a percentage, but be specific, 1%, 10%, 5%, so that if they know the amount of the sale, they can calculate themselves the amount of the donation.
Right, but the donation from the company is one thing. What the nonprofit does with it is totally another. And there's been an awful lot of exploitation lately. I saw a whole list of the percentage of, say, care and feeding, or pause for the cause, or all sorts of these things, where it's terrifying how much money actually gets to the cause, much little money actually gets to the cause.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's something that I had an issue with in the very beginning as well. And I'm not going to tell you that there are not bad nonprofits out there that are doing shifty things and, really taking advantage of the system. It happens. That's always going to happen. It's just human nature. However, we have been groomed to believe that nonprofits should be working on a shoestring budget, that people should be doing this out of the goodness of their hearts.
Right. Unfortunately, we're going to have to take a break and pick up on when good nonprofits go bad on the other side of a commercial break. Sheryl and I will return to our discussion shortly, so you stay right there. This is the Mission Evolution Radio Show. We're coming to you on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
Join Patty Conklin and Healing Within Radio each week. More than entertainment, Healing Within offers educational, useful tools for everyday life. Listen for help overcoming fear, anxiety, and depression. Patty knows about eliminating cancer, MS, dementia, Parkinson's, and a host of illnesses that we face every day. Life can be good. Life is good. All you need are simple tools to start changing your life. Start right now by visiting pattyconklin.com, PATTICONKLIN. No matter where you are in the world, you can work with Patty through Skype, phone, or in person, visiting one of her retreats in Georgia. Visit pattyconklin.com today or call our offices at 404-474-0086. That's pattyconklin.com or call 404-474-0086.
Coming soon to the X Zone Broadcast Network is A Different Perspective with me, Kevin Randall, as your host. We'll be taking a close look at what is happening in the world of UFOs today with side trips into the paranormal. Guests will range from those who are household names to those who have a different perspective on a variety of topics. No topic will be taboo, but there will be tough questions asked as we all search for the truth about UFOs, the paranormal, and those things that excite us. Sometimes we'll agree with a guest and sometimes we won't, but we'll try to keep the program topical. For those of you who would like to read, be sure to visit www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com and remember to listen to the other fine programs on the X Zone Broadcast Network at www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back. This is the Mission Evolution Radio Show. Did you know our entire leading edge, information-packed past episode collection is available to listen or download with our compliments? Visit our archives at www.missionevolution.org for our ever-growing selection of guests and topics. Our guest this hour is Sheryl Green. Her website, SherylGreenSpeaks.com. Sheryl, we were discussing when good nonprofits go bad. And if a person is looking for a nonprofit, is there some place that they can find a list or the deets on it so that they know that this company or this nonprofit is really doing, having an impact in the world versus just sucking up all the proceeds?
So can we change that lead into when good nonprofits are seen as bad?
Sure.
Thank you. Yes, I mean, there's GuideStar, which is kind of the Better Business Bureau for nonprofits. So you
great.
can check a rating. But kind of what I was alluding to before is we have this concept of nonprofits as, all of these wonderful natured people working for free, and everything in the world is donated to them so they don't have to spend any money. And it's wrong. It's just wrong. And, I take the smart-ass approach to it in my book because that's what I do. But would you expect someone to work a business for free?
I totally understand that nonprofit means that after they cover their expenses, then the donation is made. But we are coming from a consumer, marketing approach, and we're coming from, quite frankly, greed is the norm. Mm-hmm. And so I think nonprofits, I could be wrong, but aren't they struggling to try to be altruistic in the face of that overlording concept?
They are. 90%, of course, that's just a random statistic, but most nonprofits are just trying to do the best they can with what they have. And I recommend this for everybody. There is a TED Talk by Dan Pallotta called, I think it's The Way We think about charity is dead wrong. I think that's it. But if you look up Dan Pilata, you'll find it. And he really talks about, the need for marketing dollars. His example is you can put up a flyer in the laundromat for a bake sale and not spend any money, and that's fantastic, but you bring in, $200. Or you can take out an ad in the New York Times for your event and bring in $100,000. So I think it's the responsibility at this point is, yes, on the nonprofit to keep their nose clean and stay above board and all that. But it's also on the consumer and on the business owner to realize that nonprofits should not be held to an entirely different standard than the corporate world is. If anything, nonprofits are doing a better thing than, he uses the example of a video game company that makes violent video games and sells it to children. Why should they be held to a different example and to a different bar, rather, than a nonprofit that is feeding children or destroying disease or, taking care of animals, whatever it may be? So I think it's really a shift in attitude. My recommendation, and I really talk about dealing with nonprofits on a smaller scale, because I do focus on small business. Corporations know what they're doing here. I think it's the small businesses that can use the guidance. And I talk about working with those small nonprofits that, yeah, they are going to have lower overhead. But if you find a nonprofit without overhead, they're not going to be around for long.
Oh yeah, I don't think the question is of overhead. I think the question is of, the larger the machine, the more it gets sucked up into itself and puts nothing out. And that's the ones that that have come to the limelight lately, and that's my concern. So there another point here is there's a lot of advertising gimmicks out there. Mm-hmm. What makes cause marketing different, and do you think it'll last?
Oh yeah. 100%. I think it'll last. I think it's been around for a long time, and I don't think it's going anywhere. If anything, it's going to get larger. Look, it can be used as a gimmick. Just like we're talking, anything can be done for the wrong reasons. You're always going to see that. However, for the most part, you will see good people working in good businesses that want to make a difference. And when they make that difference and when they talk about that difference that they're making and how they're helping a cause, it allows them to do better, which is great because then they can help more. But it also spreads awareness and sheds light on the cause. So people that wouldn't have known now do.
If one just employs the methods of cause marketing without really having a passion for the chosen cause, is it as effective?
I don't think it's going to be as effective. It'll still work. The nonprofit will still get some money or, services or whatever they're getting. But I don't think anything works as well when we don't go into it with passion. And one of the stories that I recommend that people or, salespeople and business people have is a cause marketing story. And it comes down to, why do you care about this? Why does it matter to you? I can tell you why animals are so important to me. And that's going to be a lot more truthful and a lot more passionate than somebody that's just like, I'm going to do this because I want to make some more money.
So what can you tell us about the importance of authenticity? Because that's kind of where we're going here, isn't it? When professing to stand for a cause.
Like I said, that cause marketing story is important because the why behind what you're doing is what makes you authentic. And it's just going to shine through. I think there is a need for authenticity in life, but in business, no matter what you're doing, even if you're not supporting a cause, why do you care about whatever you're doing? Why is it that you went into that specific business? And the people that have that strong why, I think it's just, they're going to come across as more passionate about it, and they'll be ultimately more successful.
I personally can't imagine living my life and doing my work without having passion for a cause. I'm really behind this, trust me. Yeah. But but I'm not necessarily like everybody else. So is it important for all the members of the company to be committed to a cause?
So you're kind of going into like the culture aspect of this. And it's funny because when you commit to a cause, when you make your business about more than just making money, you attract different people. So you're going to attract better people, and you're going to have an option of more people, because especially with millennials and Gen Z after them, especially with them coming into the workforce and really taking over, they expect it. It's not just like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, we're giving some money to that charity over there. They expect that there is something beyond the bottom line. They want to know that they are working for the greater good. So, your employees really want it, and you're going to have a better selection of potential employees if you incorporate this into your business. Does everybody have to be on board if they're already in there? I mean, it would be nice. You're not going to fire them if they're not. But if they aren't, chances are that there's other issues with that culture fit as well.
So say, for instance, we have a small business and they decide to take up this cause marketing. How does a business owner encourage their people to get behind a cause? How do you suggest that?
So I think part of that actually rests on the nonprofit as well, that responsibility. All too often you see, point of sale campaigns where you go into Target or whatever it is, and you're at the cashier and she goes, would you like to donate $1 to kids' cancer? And there's no excitement, there's no enthusiasm, there's no passion behind it. And I think part of the responsibility falls on the nonprofit to educate the staff, to educate those employees on what it is you do, why it matters. And of course, the business owner has to allow them to do that and provide time and all of that. But really getting a feel for what is it, getting those stories of the individuals that were helped, of exactly what they do and how the cashier or the employee is actually making a difference and how they can impact the cause. So becoming a part of it.
So if you already, we already have a business going and we're wanting to convert it to cause marketing, does the participation and interest of the members of the company need to be considered when choosing that cause?
Yeah, that's one of the ways that you can look into what cause you want to choose. Ultimately, that decision falls on the upper management or the owner. However, some employers will take it to a vote. They'll ask their employees, what do you care about? What charities do you already support? And there's good and there's bad for this. It's great to get everybody involved, and they're more likely to be on board if they've had a part in the decision-making process. But there's also nobody ever agrees. You get 20 people in a room and you're going to get at least 10 different opinions. So it really comes down to knowing who you work with and the culture of the actual company, what's going to be the best decision in that case.
Yeah, what's going to be the best fit. You can take input, but there you can't have too many chiefs and not enough Indians, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Well, we need to take another commercial break. Cheryl and I will be back shortly to continue our discussion. So don't you go away. This is the Mission Evolution Radio Show on the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
If you are looking for a safe, zero-calorie natural option to the harmful artificial sweeteners on the market today, Just Like Sugar is what you're looking for. Just Like Sugar is a wonderful natural alternative for those health-conscious people who choose a calorie-restricted diet with a great, pure, sweet flavor that tastes just like sugar. Just Like Sugar is a great natural option for people suffering from diabetes and may be useful in restricted diet programs where standard sugars are not allowed and does not cause a laxative effect of some other sweeteners. Just Like Sugar comprises a perfect blend of chicory root fiber, natural calcium, natural vitamin C, and Just Like Sugar's sweetness comes from the natural flavors from the peel of the orange. Just Like Sugar is a natural alternative to harmful artificial sweeteners and will change the way that you believe all natural sweetener products taste. Just Like Sugar is available at your local Whole Foods markets, Wild Oats markets, Henry's, Sun Harvest, and many other fine natural food stores in the U.S., Canada, and worldwide. They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Ellie Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world, interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Memorable dynamic presentations are a not-so-secret weapon in the business world. Do you have a powerful message that must be shared, but you haven't found a way to deliver that message? Do you want to be known as a top public speaker who gets amazing results? Are you ready to create and deliver your powerful message? Thomas Hides can help you create and deliver your speech to get the results you desire. Visit iconquality.com.
Did you expect your business to flourish, but instead it plateaued or didn't get off the ground yet? Would you like to achieve massive goals and discover new sources of income within your business? When you're ready to experience that type of success with fast results, Cindy Hendricks is the business coach for you. Her work with entrepreneurs and business owners has been life-changing. To get you and your business where you want to be, go to imaginemoresuccess.com.
Has the fear of public speaking stalled your business or personal life? What would you give to develop and maintain supreme confidence? Have an invaluable private program to always perform at your best. Imagine how you would feel. You can have all that and so much more today with Thomas Hides' life-changing course called Number One Fear Unleashed. Visit numberonefear.com and be liberated from your fear of public speaking.
Welcome back. This is Mission Evolution Radio Show, bringing together gifted people of service to the world. What are your thoughts on the feasibility of win-win marketing? Is it doable or a pipe dream? To ask a question, make a comment, suggest a topic, or a guest, email us info@missionevolution.org. This hour, we're exploring evolutionary marketing with Sheryl Green. Her website, SherylGreenspeaks.com. Sheryl, what are some major misconceptions about cause marketing?
I think the biggest misconception that I see is that it's wrong to talk about what you do. I remember, going to a networking group, and I got together for a one-on-one with the plumber in the group, and he said, I asked him about his business, and he was like, "Oh yeah, and we help out these couple of organizations." And I said, "That is amazing." I said, where do you put it on Facebook? Like, do you do videos while you're there? What do you do?" And he was like, "Oh no, I don't do it for the attention." And so his reasoning is pure and is wonderful, that he wants to help. But as I mentioned before, if you don't talk about what you do, then no one's going to know, and no one's going to be able to help. So the nonprofit will still get the money, and that'll be great, but they won't get that awareness from your tribe, from your audience. And it's only half the job. So kind of getting over that idea that, oh, well, it takes away from it if I talk about it. No, it adds to it, seeing it from the rooftops.
But it goes back into that authenticity too, doesn't it? You can't just say, well, I'm doing my tithing here,
Yes.
and I randomly picked these things.
Yes.
But rather that goes back to the importance of picking something that you can really get behind.
Yes. Yeah. And, the other, excuse me, the other thing that I see a lot is, if I choose a cause, will I alienate some people? Yeah, you might. It's always going to happen that when you stand for something, there are going to be people that don't agree with you. However, there's also going to be a lot more people that do agree and that flock to be your customer, to join your tribe. And I use the example of Dick's Sporting Goods in my book. They took a stand against for gun control during one of the school shootings, and their audience was divided. Half of the people that followed them said, "I will never shop there again. Guns are our rights," and blah blah blah. Whereas the other half said, "Thank you so much for protecting our children. I'll be a loyal customer for life." So you do run that risk, but is your job in this world to be liked by absolutely everybody, or is it to make a difference?
Well, that's the misconception again. We've been brought up to believe our job in this world is to make a lot of money and support our family, and to heck with everybody else. And I think that's shifting. Do you see that?
I do. I definitely do see. I think we're moving out of, because we have to. We're moving out of this like me culture, and really moving into, how can I be of service? How can I help? And the beauty of cause marketing is that it's reciprocal. It's the better I do, the better, or the more good I do, the better I do. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a nice shift for business, and it's just a change in attitude.
So outside of angering some people, are there any drawbacks to cause marketing?
I believe that as long as you are doing it from a good place, and that you are on the up and up with what you're doing, and very careful to stay within the laws and the guidelines, and you choose a good nonprofit and a good cause to collaborate with, I don't think there's any drawbacks. I really don't.
You quote Yank Silver in posing the question, what if greater happiness, more meaningful impact, and increased profit are all surprisingly interconnected? Yeah. Could you go into that concept for us?
Yeah, I opened the book with a story about a speaker that I'm very friendly with, and a great guy. But he's a marketing expert, and he has the belief, where many people do, this is not uncommon: I will make my money, and then I will give to the causes I care about. That first you have to establish you, and you have to establish your business, and you have to become the billionaire or whatever, and then you can help. And I think that's an old concept. I think it's outdated. My wish is that people realize that you can start from day one, just like Tito's did. You can start from day one giving. And, in the spirit of abundance and the universe, there being plenty, like, you will get that in return. You will do better because of what you've put out into the world.
Do you think the cause marketing can break through the distrust and understandable cynicism of the modern consumer?
I think there's always going to be people that do it wrong. I'd love to say that everybody is going to follow the rules and that everybody's going to have the best of intentions, but I still think that there will be the I donate 0.0000001%. So they get that halo effect, that good warm feeling because they're helping a nonprofit, the consumer, but they don't realize how little is actually going to the consumer. So, the business is kind of benefiting off of the nonprofits, but not really giving the right thing in exchange.
So would you mind sharing again where you can find, where the nonprofits are rated as far as, because this is the other part, there's the businesses cheating the nonprofits, but there's the nonprofits sucking up all the profit.
Yeah.
So where'd you say that we could go to find out how people rank in that?
So it's called GuideStar. I believe it's guidestar.org.
Okay.
But they'll give you ratings and if there have been any complaints about the nonprofits. When you're talking about a local level, a smaller nonprofit as opposed to the huge ones, I honestly think your best bet is going to be talking to people in the community, seeing who's got a good reputation as actually doing what they say they're doing, because you're going to learn a lot more from that than just from a random rating.
Right, and when you're in the smaller communities, they don't necessarily show up for the larger research. Is that correct?
Yeah, some of them. I think it does take a while for GuideStar to get on their radar and be reviewed by then. So,
how can cause marketing create a sustainable win-win scenarios?
You know what? That's a great question, and I look at companies like Tom's Shoes. Blake Mikowski, the founder of that, he went into Argentina and saw all of this poverty and realized that if he were to just take up a collection of money so that he could bring shoes and supplies to these people, he would have to do it every 3 months, every 6 months, and eventually his people, his tribe, would get tired of being asked for money. What cause marketing does is it provides that almost renewable resource. There's constantly a need for products, and there's constantly a need for assistance for the nonprofits. So rather than just hey, can you give me, what I need? Can you donate this? It's, with each purchase, money can go. So there's that constant back and forth.
What is your vision for the future of marketing?
I would love to see a time where every company is tied to a cause. I think as business owners, we not only have the opportunity, but we have the responsibility to support something and to stand for something. And we can change the world. As businesses, as individuals, we can step up and we can fix the problems. With the help of nonprofits, we can fix the problems that are plaguing our society. So I think when everything is tied to a cause, you're not just competing on price or these other issues. You're competing on, hey, you know what? I want to support people that support what I care about.
And doesn't that kind of empower the company and the individual in that we aren't just twiddling our thumbs hoping the government puts our taxes where we want to see it go?
Yeah, it empowers everyone. And, I mentioned before being the hero. People want to help. For the most part, people are good and they want to make a difference out there. Some people just don't know how. So by offering this as part of your business, you actually help the consumer be that hero and make a difference and feel better about themselves as well.
Well, it's a lovely, lovely concept. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Sheryl, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show, and thank you for your service in the world.
Thank you.
Our guest this hour has been Sheryl Green, the author of Do Good to Do Better, the small business guide to growing your business by helping nonprofits. Her website is SherylGreenspeaks.com. Remember, our entire information-packed episode collection is available for listening or download free of charge. Visit our archives at www.missionevolution.org for our ever-growing selection of guests and topics. This has been Mission Evolution Radio Show with Gwilda Wiyaka on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. Do remember, we love to hear from you. Please email us at info@missionevolution.org with any questions or suggestions. Join us next time as this mission continues, bringing information, resources, and support to an evolving world.